Penn Stewart
people
says,
who have never
people
known
who have
addiction
never known addiction
don't know how hard
it can be.
And it is true.
And it is true.
Whatever we have not experienced, we cannot be definite
in our exact
understanding of how the people who have been through it felt at that time. But what we do know is what addiction is defined as. It's defined as a brain disorder that repeatedly manifests itself, either as a substance or activity abuse, even when it's causing pain or discomfort for the user. Although many say initially, this addiction must have brought some pleasure. And it's a warm welcome, I say, to you as you join us on our program, Wellness and Living. Our topic today is drug and substance addiction. My name is Felma Obaze. As we often want to do on the program, we went out, we spoke with people. We want to share your experiences. We want to know your thoughts. We asked some questions, and here is what we found.
One of the major causes is joblessness. Another one is bad friends. Then another one is not knowing what the person wants in life, not knowing what you are meant to be.
Due to psychological trauma and other psychological challenges, a lot of youth, most especially, take to drug addiction, basically, so as to see how they can rectify or solve that particular psychological aspect or problem.
Why I think they are addicted to drugs is lack of attention. When some parents don't care about their children. Secondly, for instance, an adult that gets into addiction is maybe when they are bored or they are heartbroken.
If you want to look at that in spiritual perspectives, it also has to do with, the people not taking heed to the word of God. Because the word of God is able to remold our life and our perspectives.
Drugs addiction is as a result of, maybe stranded or unemployment on the part of the youth.
One of the reasons why people get addicted to drugs is they believe or thinking that drugs can help them overcome depression, overcome maybe anger and some emotional feelings. And by the time they get to the drugs, they find it difficult coming out. At that point, they become addicted to the drugs.
The consequences of drug abuse is that when you get addicted to it, you don't tend to live a meaningful life. Almost all you do depend on that drugs, and it affects you in so many areas.
It affects the kidney, the kidney. It affects the kidney. It affects the lungs, because the lungs has to do with the use of oxygen, and so when you smoke, there are a lot of chemicals or gases that are released into the system, and these gases are very toxic to the body.
The consequences is that at the end, the person will end up not fulfilling his purpose in life. Secondly, he might end up dying untimely death.
You will lose your normal senses. Reasoning is tempered with. You begin to behave anyhow. And if it's not controlled early, it will resort to becoming mad. And you become a pain in the heart of your parents and your family members.
If they are rehabilitated, there's hope for them. They can be, they can blend to the society where they even do more. They do well. It's just a thing of the mindset. You have to reposition their mindset from the negative to the positive so that they can add value, to the society.
Yes, there is, because once they're educated more on the danger of it, I think some of them will have a rethink.
There's brighter future because far back when I was in the university, some of the addicted drugs users, they are very brilliant in the class. So they have brighter future if they can be rehabilitated.
My advice is for people to abstain themselves from bad company and be closer to God.
Recovery is the acceptance that your life is in shambles and you have to do something about it. This is a quote by Jamie Lee Curtis. She's an actress in Hollywood. I often like to drive home a point with quotes because it reminds us and encourages us that whatever we're facing at this point in time, people have been through it, they have surmounted, they have survived, and they are succeeding. And this case of drug addiction is no different. With quotes like this, I was encouraged to put together a package to throw more light on this topic of drug addiction, to help those who are suffering from it, and to help many people to identify those who are addicted to drugs or any other kind of substance abuse. Addiction has been defined as a chronic relapsing brain disease that is characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite harmful consequences. It is considered a brain disease because drugs change the brain. They change its structure and how it works. Research shows that drug abuse can be a relapsing disease because people take more of a drug trying to achieve the same dopamine high. No single factor can predict whether a person will become addicted to drugs. Rather, it can evolve as a combination of genetic, environmental, and developmental factors that influence the addiction risk. What are the main causes of drug addiction? Depression can lead to drug addiction. Lack of social and communication skills can make a person an introvert, reticent, and eventually leads to addiction of some sort. Poor performance at school, suffering a loss, financial loss, that may be, or a bereavement can lead to drug addiction. Addiction says clearly that a user is no longer able to stop the addictive habit and that he or she needs help. Quickly, there are various signs of drug addiction. Changes in personality and behavior, like lack of motivation, irritability, and agitation. Bloodshot eyes and frequent bloody noses, shakes, tremors, and slurred speech. Obvious change in daily routine, lack of concern for personal hygiene, and an unusual need for money. Also, financial problems begin to crop up because the person is spending over and above his income to maintain the drug habit. Rehabilitation of a drug addict is possible and necessary. Research states and promotes that in addition to medically assisted drug detoxification, medication and behavioral therapy should also be inculcated during rehabilitation to ensure constant and lasting success, because that way there's a minimal risk of a relapse. The more you engage in any type of emotion or behavior, the greater your desire for it will become. So parents and guardians need to be on the lookout. They need to watch their words and children to know their behavior, to know it's not changing, to know it's constant, to know who their friends are, to know what they're doing at every given second. That way, they can nip addiction in the bud, or where the person is already addicted, they can help to rehabilitate the person in the shortest possible time. Drug addiction is bad. We must do all we can to ensure that it does not thrive in any society. researchers are propounding this theory. They are of the opinion that people don't get addicted to drugs or alcohol, that people get addicted to escapism, that people are addicted to escaping reality. Wow, that's a new one. What are your thoughts on the issue? But you know how we like to do on the program? We like to talk to a medical professional. We spoke with Dr. Chukwuma Onochukwu, and he throws more light on drug addiction. While people fall prey to it, why it prevails, what can be done, how people can be rehabilitated such that they go on to lead a successful life.
Drug addiction is somebody getting used to a drug. Either it's a psychotic drug, or is marijuana, or is cocaine, or is even normal drugs that we use to kill pain. Those are part of the drugs that we give patients that they get used to. So once they get used to it, it gives them this psychological feeling that they're on top of the world. Not like some people take alcohol and they feel high. Some people take certain medications and they feel high. Some people take cocaine and co and they crave for them because it makes them feel on top of the world. Some people that do heinous crimes, if they are not on drugs, they will not be able to reason at that level and commit such crimes. They are used to it. They need it to operate. And once they are low on it, you see them, either they are depressed or they are psychotic, they are no longer normal. And that's why it's good for us to be close to our children and know who their friends are. Now, once your child starts misbehaving, this is a normal child, you know. Now his behavior is changing. He's hiding things. Most times he wants to be alone. He enters his room, he locks up the room. He doesn't want you to see what he's keeping there or what he's doing there. He starts talking to you or the elder ones anyhow. That means he's no longer acting normally. He's acting under the influence. And that is the time to watch and see what the child is doing, the company he's keeping. He comes back home late at night. He goes away without telling anybody where he or she is going to. That is the time to watch it. And then also look at the body. Somebody that used to keep his room tidy, suddenly the room becomes upside down. You start wondering what is happening. That is the time to check and be sure that all is well. He needs a good rehabilitation. And by rehabilitation, what do we mean? Is he a student? Is he a worker? Is he into trading? Whatever the person is doing, does he enjoy it? Because we need to know what is pushing him this way. If you're enjoying what you do, you might not even have time for all these delinquent behavior. But once you are idle, take for instance the teenager that finishes SS3. His mates have entered university, he didn't get admission. He has nothing doing. That is the time to keep the person occupied. If it's extramural lessons, if he's following you to work, just to keep them occupied than leaving them idle to be playing with their age mates around. That is where the attraction for such things starts. Rehabilitation means they will go to centers where they do such things. There are people that is their specialty. The psychologists, the psychiatrists that are specializing in dealing with people that are psychotics or people that are depressed. Because sometimes they can manifest with depression, sometimes they can manifest with psychosis, depending on what has gone on in the brain. Because some of these drugs can actually damage the brain. And you see them walking around like madmen on the road. They look unkempt. They will no longer want to cut their hair. They won't cut their beards. They don't want to go to school or go to work or do any activity that other people do. So sometimes they are even admitted for that rehabilitation. Sometimes they are managed. It now depends on the extent they've gone in that drug abuse. The chances of full recovery is very high. Most of our parents these days hide these children. They hide this behavior because of the stigma attached to it. Nobody wants to be seen to be the mother of a mad person or the mother of an addict. I want us all, every adult, teenager, parents, to be mindful of what we take. Don't follow bad company, bad friends, and follow them and do smoke, take drugs, because you don't know the one that will damage one's brain. and everybody's brain does not radiate at the same frequency. Some people might take one bottle of Star and drive away, while some people will take that same one bottle of Star and might not be able to walk. So the thing to know is that drug addiction is bad. It gives us all sorts of negative image and we have nothing to benefit from it. And for you to have a bright future, maybe as a young man you are looking at the other man and say, oh, these people are enjoying life. They are riding cars. For you to be able to achieve that, you have to stay away from drugs. Because once you take those drugs, the chances of them damaging your brain, the chances of you getting addicted to them, and therefore every dime you get, you spend it on drugs is very high. So let's keep away from drugs.
Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I built my life. So says J.K. Rowling. You know her. She's the British best-selling author of Harry Potter, a book that has been made into a series, has become a blockbuster movie, and is selling all over the world. What is her story? Why does it inspire us today? It tells you that when you fall, stand. It's not how many times you fall that's important or how far you fall. It's how quickly you stand up and begin to move again with optimism, with hope, with dedication and focus. Okay, so you know someone who's addicted to substance or drugs, or you are that person, but you know it's time to get rehabilitated. What do? You start, and you start right now. And one great way to ensure that you continue to move upwardly to the best level of your wellness and health success is to work out regularly. We worked out recently at the old parade ground.
Well, I exercise for a number of reasons, and primarily I exercise because of my health, to ensure that I stay stable. Right now I'm about 40 years, and then, you know, naturally once you're about 40, you have to be careful with a lot of things. But nonetheless, before I turned 40, I've always been exercising, right from when I was a teenager.
When we watch sports on television, we see men and women doing this. These are dumbbells. I found it very hard to imagine because I'm used to smaller sizes. Well, I saw the gentleman lifting this. I said, let me try. Can I do it? Okay. I'm kind of like weights. This is what they were doing. Let me try this. My hands can go up.
I do at least 4 times in a week, depending on my schedules. Actually, one, to be fit. It keeps me fit, and medically, I think it's very, very okay for the heart.
You don't have to be willing to recover. You just have to be willing to change your status quo. That is, if you are discomfited, uncomfortable about where you are, your willingness to make change is the first positive step and to continue to propel you to survive, to surmount, and to succeed. I'd love to spend time again with you on the program Wellness and Living next week. But until then, do spend time and interact with us on our social media handle, Wellness and Living at Nigerian Television Authority. We love to hear from you. Always, the doors of communication are thrown open. And a big thank you to all of you who have taken time out of a very busy schedule to interact with us on our page. Continue to do so. We are all learning together. My name is Felma Obazi. I'll see you again. Bye.